Welcome to part 3 of What He Has No Right to Say That, The Rant, aka people who actually get the right to say, why does everything seem to happen to me who are not Scrooge from A Christmas Carol? In this case, I'm including my OCs. Yes, I am. So this is Amelia, my OC, and she has gone through a tragic past, and I'm just going to spill it all out. I would give you time to read this, but let's just be honest, it kind of looks hard to read, so I'm just going to tell you. And you might want to pay attention because it's going to go by a little bit fast, okay? Okay, we're going to go it now. She was born, and she had a father who was the hero of the town or whatever, and her father was pretty cool. Yeah, he was a good father, and she didn't have a mom. They got divorced. They got divorced when they had the baby, and he took custody or whatever. I didn't really get that part done yet, but yeah, they had no mom, so they just had a nanny instead. Everything was fine. The dad was a good guy or whatever, and lately when she was 4, her dad went out to do hero stuff or whatever and left the nanny in charge, and her father died in combat that night, and the day after that, Amelia woke up realizing she had powers. The nanny was cooking breakfast or whatever, and she accidentally dropped something, which if it weren't for Amelia's powers, it would have fell on her head. And she was like, ah! And she did this, blocking the thing that was gonna fall. I don't know if it was a frying pan or not. I will figure that out. And her powers stopped it from it falling on her head, and it ended up placing it back on the little table thing or whatever. And they were both pretty shocked. And then Nanny was like, yeah, I'm out. Yeah, and she just left there or whatever because she was a little scared because Amelia had powers and basically left her behind or whatever. Hang on a minute. Yeah. And you would think, well, wouldn't the cops be taking care of her? Because they wouldn't leave a baby like that alone or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Well, in this case, I decided her powers were what were taking care of her. They were basically her parent at that time. Because she was 4. She didn't know anybody else. She had no way of contacting because she didn't have a phone. She didn't have social media. She's 4. So her powers were taking care of her for her. Over time, she realized and learned how to control her powers or whatever. And because there were times when she was at school or whatever, and apparently she got a little bit picked on or ignored for her powers when she was in preschool. But it wasn't as bad as it's gonna get in the future or whatever. So remember that for later. It was just either just ignored or whatever when she was at preschool or whatever. I don't know, because kids don't understand stuff. Anyway, getting back to it, when she was 13, that's when she fully understood her powers or whatever. Because hey, let's be honest, it takes a while. You know what I mean? And then one day she was at school, and out of nowhere, this monster comes in and tries to attack the school or whatever. And everyone's running around, and then Amelia was like, my father was the hero of the town. I have to follow in his footsteps or whatever. So she goes in, uses her powers to defeat this beast, and wins, alright? And she gets done, and everyone at the school's looking at her like... And you would think, she just saved more than 100 people in a school. She basically saved an entire school, and potentially just saved the entire town. But, we're gonna say that the school noticed this, and the school only noticed this, whatever. We're gonna say the school noticed it, or whatever. You would think they'd be like, oh my goodness, you're the hero, yada yada. She'd get praised for it, right? You would think. But no. Everyone avoided her, and they were like, freak! No, you're not one of us, you don't belong here, yeah. You have powers, yeah, we're yada yada. They're just being horrible. They're just being horrible dirtbags. Yeah, and this one girl is the only one left and walking away, and Mill's like, wait, what's going on? What did I do? I didn't do anything. It's not what you... And sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, and the girl's like, it's not what you did. It's who you are. you're a monster. And that's all you're ever gonna be," and leaves. She leaves because she's a dirtbag. And Amelia is sitting there and she's like, "But I didn't even do anything wrong." And then the police are here. Yes, the police are involved in this, and they tried to arrest the poor kid. And she's like, "Oh, I gotta go." And she's running away. She runs back to her house. She hauled butt back to her house, which is good. She should, alright? She should run back to her house. And, yeah, so she ran back to her house, and she's invisible, so the cops won't see her, or whatever. She gets back, and then she realizes, and at that moment, when she gets in her room and hides from everybody else, that was the moment when she realized just how awful the world is. Yeah. And, like, over time, or a little bit, like, she's been going through the same old crap. Bullying or whatever, like, torturing this poor girl. It was either bullying or just completely ignoring her. Yeah, one day she was, like, sitting down at lunch, and she was holding this photo of her dad, and this boy comes over and is like, "Hey, what's that?" And she's like, "It's a picture of somebody in my family," or whatever. And then they're like, "Can I look?" And she's a little bit hesitant because, come on, stuff been happening, alright? She's hesitant, but then brings out the trust to give it to him, so he looks and rips it up, and she's like, "Oh!" Yeah, and then, like, that was the last straw, and she, like, calls out everybody. She's like, "I cannot believe you did that. Like, I cannot believe it." And you know what? I've had it up to here with it. Like, I basically saved you, and you guys bully me. You bully me for who I am, instead of accepting the fact that I did something good for you. Like, I saved you, and this is what I get. Like, if I'm a monster to you, then you are... I'm sorry, I had another thing planned, but now I'm changing it to something else. Like, if I'm a monster to you, then you're this to me. Whatever, I'm gonna plan something else for that anyway. Yeah, and then she storms out back to her house, or whatever. Yeah, because, like, she's just over it, or whatever. And then, they picked up the ripped up pieces, and then they realize the photo was of her dad, the hero of their town, who had died years ago. And they're like, "Oh, so all this time we've been bullying the hero of the town's daughter? Oh my goodness, we are horrible." Yeah, they finally realize they're horrible. Yeah, and then during all of this, these guys, or whatever, apparently they were watching over her and everything that was happening, or whatever. Y'all might consider that stalking, or whatever, which, I mean, it kind of is, actually. But they were looking over this kid because, well, somebody, like, I don't really know why, but we're just gonna say, like, somebody popped it up, like, this, she's gonna be, like, she's the one, alright? She's the one. I need you guys to watch over this kid, and, we need your opinion, or whatever. Yeah. And, like, they've been seeing just how much crap that she's been putting up with, and even they're like, "Oh my goodness, that is awful." Keep in mind, some of these people did much worse, or whatever, and even they're like, "That's just awful." Yeah, hang on. Yeah, and then she goes home, and then, like, she's sitting there, and she's like, she's just over it, and she just wants to leave. Like, she's had it. She wants to leave, or whatever, and, like, she writes in her diary everything. She writes in her diary. And then the evil queen comes in and picks her up. Well, she doesn't pick her up, like, she doesn't pick her up like this, or whatever, but she's like, "Listen, you come with me, you're gonna be happier with us," or whatever. Yeah. And, like, she's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I mean, I'm sure it's much better than living here now," or whatever. And then they leave, and, we're gonna cut it there, because I already told you enough already about her backstory. Long story short, she's in the new world, the world of thoughts, where there's Disney characters and original characters that I made, or whatever, and she's just much happier there. Like, she's just much happier there. She taught the villains they could be better for the better. She's changing lives, or whatever. She's much more recognized for the good in herself. and is not overlooked by her powers. Yeah. But despite all that, she still has some crap happen to her. Like, she goes through a fake friend a couple times. She gets kidnapped. Yeah, she gets kidnapped or whatever a couple times. Yeah, stuff happens to her. It's the perfect world, but not the perfect world, because stuff still happens to her. So basically, I'm just like, she has had every moment to where she could have said, why is everything happening to me, you know? But she's a trooper because she had never acknowledged that and took advantage of those opportunities. She never took advantage of those. Let's just be honest, she's a trooper. And anyway, this is my 10-minute rant.